Earlier during the week, I told you about my project for March, my Agony Aunt project, where quite literally I am asking anybody who comes in contact with these videos to privately contact me with their problems, whatever their problems might be. Thank you very much for all of you who have actually been coming forward and telling me in all earnesty and honesty about some of the issues that you're going through. I really appreciate it, and I want to stress that everything you tell me is confidential, just like I told you in our one-to-one conversations as well. This is a project that I'm launching at the moment, and it's in its test phases for March, so it doesn't cost anything. You know, I'm not charging you to listen to your problems. The reason I'm doing this is because I know that sometimes it's the moments in our lives when we actually feel the most alone, that we feel like we can't share, that is what actually drags us down. You know, so sometimes just talking about it is what actually creates an opportunity. Now, it just so happens that this is actually my line of work as well. I help people with these things. I help people to get clarity in their life, to get stillness inside of them, and to get peace of mind in this overall picture of what their life is. So if there's anything that is going on in your life at the moment that you feel you need guidance or direction or anything like that, contact me through private message. We have a chat about it, and I will make a video about it for everyone, just like I am about to do now. So that's the introduction done. My name is Marcel. I am an awareness coach. I specialize in dealing with subconscious emotional patterns. Of all the messages that I had received subsequently to making my first video about this topic during the week, one in particular stood out very, very deeply. A lady contacted me with this question: how do I deal with a part of my past that I thought I had already let go of? So the question again, how do I deal with the parts of my past that I thought I had already let go of, already made peace with? I went through this myself, and many people that I have worked with go through this particular situation, scenario, lesson, whatever we choose to call it, right, as well. So a bit of background. Let's call her Lucy for the sake of this. Lucy told me that she had been working probably for the last 5 to 7 years, right, on putting her past behind her. And with her past was her family, right, and family connections. Quite literally, that's the experience that she had in her past with them caused so much emotional scarring and trauma that she didn't know how to deal with it anymore. So she spent the last 5 to 7 years dealing with this, right, and creating barriers in order to not be emotionally affected by this anymore. Now, the way that she dealt with it is by creating distance, okay, which is, of course, one way to deal with absolutely anything. And as she explained to me, it worked really, really well, you know, for this amount of time. What happens, and she explained to me this actually happened just the weekends, you know, and I posted this Agony Aunt's request. I started on Monday, so the timing was impeccable for her. She said over the weekend, somebody she hadn't seen in 5 years just bumped into her, out of the blue, out of nowhere. Somebody in her family that was also responsible for creating very deep-seated emotional problems, trauma for her in her life. One of the reasons she went through this 5-year period of transformation and change and transcendence She said before she knew it, because everything happened so fast and she was so in a flat spin, quite literally, she was, how did she explain it? She said she was coaxed into committing, into helping this person with a specific project, right? After not seeing them for 5 years. This is the first thing that this person brought up for them, like again, not how are you or what are you doing or what's happening in your life or anything like that. Just, come on, I need your help, I need your help, I need your help. You know, so Lucy is very professional, right, in her fields, and she is highly valued in her actual landscape of work. So this help that she was asked for by a family member would usually come at a very expensive price tag. And as she explained, her family member basically cornered her to such an extent that she made her feel guilty, that she felt like she had to help. And she was in, oh my goodness, when we spoke on Tuesday, she was in a pretty rough state, you know. So this is why I decided to use her example for the first Agony Aunt video. How does one deal with people or situations that happened in our past that we thought we have already worked through, let go, and made peace with, if one day we find ourselves in a situation where this just falls out of the sky again, right in front of us, and we're confronted with it. This is what happens to Lucy. Quite literally, what happened is Lucy was reminded, right, that when she was in this thought system, she went through a hard stage. The people close to her in her family kind of supported her in this hard stage. But rather than giving her this unconditional love and support structure, they ended up expecting stuff from her as she became successful in her own lights and her own rights and in her own life. That's not right, okay? Like, that is not right. There's a line and a limit that we all draw. At the end of the day, it's to do with our own time, how we spend our time. You know, if I charge X amount for a specific service, which I do, and a family member comes to me and he says, listen, Marcel, can you please help me? I will pay you for your time because I appreciate that it's valuable. That's scenario A. The family member comes to me and says, listen, Marcel, I expect you to help me because we are family and I'm not paying you anything. Not so direct. That's scenario B. Two totally different scenarios, right? Lucy was stuck in scenario B. Through a very brief conversation, right? And brief, I said maybe 45 minutes, an hour. We discovered that in her past, Lucy had become so used to saying yes to when her family members would ask her for help that she neglected to realize that this was a pattern that she had created by herself. Through the years of working on herself better then and creating that distance to not be sucked in by this free help, this family want of free help anymore, she realized that she didn't want to say yes anymore. She didn't have the resolve and the conviction to just say, listen, I can't at the moment. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, sometimes no means no. So rather than doing that, just saying no, she created this massive distance. In effect, what's been happening is she was put in a situation now where she had to decide again. Is it left or is it right? Right? Is it yes or is it no? And she realized, you know, she's been kind of fighting and struggling for such a long time because she was used to saying yes, that she didn't realize how much it was actually hurting her. And now that she was recently reminded of that dynamic again that she's been trying to get away from for so many years, after a split second of actually talking about it, she realized that it's time to start saying no. Not to create distance, not to make excuses, not to feel bad, none of those things. To say no, to exercise her rights as a part of a family relationship unit, and to say, listen, I have too much going on in my life at the moment. I would love to help, but I can't. I can't. So the lesson out of all of this for you is, if your past jumps up again, right, and you thought that you made peace with it, that you are over it, that you let it go, and you find yourself that you actually haven't let go, or that you haven't made peace, that you're still in that dynamic, the first thing is to stand back, just get a pen and paper, and ask yourself, how did I react in the past in situations like this? Because the chances are, right, that the situation you find yourself in now in the present is your natural subconscious resistance towards behaving the same as what you did in the past. Like for Lucy, she was fighting against feeling she has to say yes again, right? That's what created this pressure inside of her. And then when she realized, I'm fighting against that, but I am actually strong enough and I actually don't have all the time, I don't have to make up excuses, I have to say no. When she realized that, all the pressure was resolved, it was let go. So you can wake up inside that pattern, realize, but listen, I'm fighting against what I always did. So the natural reaction is to do the opposite now. Sometimes we have to learn to say no. Whether it's a family member, a friend, a business colleague or partner, sometimes we have to say no. This is what I call the path of least resistance. When it rains and the water comes down the mountain, and at the bottom of the mountain the water forms a little pool, that pool is going to fill up and fill up and fill up and fill up, until whatever is around the pool can't contain the water anymore. That water will find a natural way of getting into a flow again, to start moving again. And we don't work much different to that. The problem is, we're so connected to our emotions that we get used to thinking for other people. We think how we will hurt other people if we do X, Y, and Z, especially when it comes to family members. But the greatest love you can actually show somebody you care for is by letting them be themselves and letting them think for themselves. If they ask you for help, if you can help, you do help. If you can't help and you don't want to help because of situations like in Lucy's past, then it's completely okay to protect yourself by just saying no. At the end of the day, this is your body, this is your life. They have their bodies and their lives. The only thing you have to do is to learn how to look after yourself in a way that you are happy, not conflicted, not angry or mad. Just to learn to be happy with yourself. Once you're happy with yourself, everything will fall into place. So that's mine. For anybody else, right, watching this video, I will continue on this Agony Aunt project for the rest of this month. So once or twice every week, I will choose a topic and I will contact you directly so that we can talk about it and come up with a resolution for your problem that will help many people that are experiencing the same problem as Lucy's problem is the first problem now that we used as an example. And I'm sure that this particular resolution is going to help many of you as well that find yourselves in a similar situation. So send me a private message. I will contact you. We set up a Zoom call. We have a chat. I will make a video about this. And if there's people in your network that you feel might benefit from this, this is totally anonymous, right? For me, it doesn't matter what you do or who you are. For me, I want to help you. And the only way that I will be able to help you is if you reach out to me, because I can't reach out to anybody, to everybody at all. So irrespective of who you are, what you do, whether you are astronaut, pauper, celebrity, doesn't matter. All right? Contact me, we have a chat, and we take it from there. That's it. Enjoy your day. Take care.